Hey, what is up, guys? I am here to give you another part of the top 50 WWE Championship matches. Now, this is gonna be I'm gonna be continuing to do this until I get to number 1, or if I've already reviewed that, whatever number I get to. So, there are two things I'm gonna talk about because one of them I've already reviewed, and the other, I haven't reviewed yet. So let's talk about it. So the number 32 of the top 50 WWE Championship matches is Brock Lesnar defending his WWE Championship against Eddie Guerrero at No Way Out, February 15th, 2004. Now I usually just say the match I've already reviewed, but I got this off the Eddie Guerrero DVD, and I figured though that Vicky Guerrero kind of gave her thoughts about it, so I figured I would read those thoughts. Let's just get right into it. So I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. Eddie Guerrero said that he was honored. Vicky Guerrero said this, that Eddie was honored to work with Brock Lesnar. And I actually think that actually is a true fact because they had a perfect match, great wrestling match. I liked it. I've said this before, and he wishes she was there. She wishes that she was in the crowd to see the match that he called, to see Eddie Guerrero win the championship. And he said that he called in and he was happy that he won the WWE Championship, and he felt like his work finally paid off. That he finally achieved his dream. And they talked about how he disgraced his race, he disgraced his family, and that he was fired in 2000. I think they said 1 or something. No, it's 2002. I forget what it was, but he was fired before, and then he came back, and then he wins this championship. He was thrilled. And that he couldn't believe he won the title, and that he stared at it when he was at his hotel room. And the first thing and that was the first thing that he showed his family when he got home. So winning that WWE Championship was a big deal to him, and I'm glad that they gave him the championship because he was a great wrestler, and it's kind of sad to see that he's gone now. But Eddie Guerrero, great wrestler though, great wrestler. So now that I've given my thoughts about that, let's talk about the number 31, the 31st greatest championship match in WWE history. It was Hulk Hogan defending the World Wrestling Federation Championship against Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff in a steel cage match, and it happened at Saturday night's main event on January 3rd, 1987. This was a pretty good steel cage match. It wasn't the best cage match ever, but it was a pretty good cage match. This was like, Jim Ross talked about how he went against the Heenan family, and it was a group that that Bobby Heenan used to run. And the only people that I know that were in there, because he faced Ken Kong Bundy in the cage, and now he faced a Paul Orndorff, and they actually didn't have a bad cage match. It was a pretty damn good cage match. Sorry. Hogan comes out before the match really starts, like right when he gets in the cage. Orndorff just attacks Hogan. He beats him. He whips him with the championship gold, and then he just continues to dominate. He tries to get out, but Hogan through the door, but Hogan grabs his foot, and then he tries to get out over the cage, but Hogan stops him because he grabs his hair. By the way, I should mention that the commentators for this match were Vince McMahon and Jesse the Body Ventura. I thought I should mention that. And then Hogan starts to gain control. He chokes him with this headband. And then there were actually two officials there. I forget the Morella guy and Danny Davis, which I think does Gut Check now. And owns Ohio Valley Wrestling. Then Paul Orndorff starts to gain control again. He's just destroying Orndorff. And then he goes to bounce Hogan's head off the cage. Hogan just bounces his head off the cage, and they both go down. They both go to climb the cage, and they both touch the floor. And referee that was originally um, hired to ref the cage declares Hogan the win, but Danny Davis declares Paul Orndorff the win. So Hogan kind of argues about it. Danny Davis shoves the other ref, and then Hogan tries to attack Danny Davis, but Paul Orndorff comes up from behind and knees Hogan in the back. So then the referee declares the match a draw, and he orders both participants to continue the match. Orndorff attacks Hogan before they get back in the cage. He gets back in the cage, and he does a axe handle off the top rope, and then he just destroys Hogan. He kind of like he grabs a foreign object and gouges it into Hogan's face. And he just continues to Hogan, but then Hogan hulks up. He punches Orndorff, bounces his head off the cage 3 times. He does a backbreaker, and then he does the leg drop, and then he goes to escape the cage. Bobby Heenan tries to stop him, but then Bobby Heenan fails, and then Orndorff tries to escape over the top, but Hogan stops him, and he does an atomic drop, and he throws Heenan into the cage, and Hogan escapes over the top, and Paul Orndorff, who had been busted open, tries to escape the door, but Hogan escapes first. That's it. That's all that really happened. It was a good cage match, though. I didn't mind the cage match. It was a decent cage match. It wasn't bad. Wasn't the greatest cage match ever, though, but what can you really do? So, that's pretty much it, guys. I'll be back on CM Brothers later on today to give my Money in the Bank prediction. So that's pretty much it, guys. See you later.